Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and this video really is on leadership qualities, characteristics of followers, and then situational factors. So if you've watched my other videos, you know that I like to say that leading really comes from the heart. And if you want to be a leader, you know that you have to build trust, and you absolutely need to know that trust is the glue of all relationships. And relationships are always fragile. Leaders have the biggest influence on organization success. So if your organization is a team, for instance, and you're the leader of that team, if your team is failing, guess what? It's probably your fault. And so you need to be able to not only take responsibility for your own actions, but be able to recognize what it is that you did and then do the right things to help make things right. You know, people are not machines. People have feelings, obviously, and people need leaders to really recognize what it is that they need. So I want to talk about the perception of effective leaders, of followers, versus what leaders think, perhaps. And then I also want you to consider the fact that as a leader, you need to recognize when you are failing by knowing what to look for. So let's do this. Ask yourself if you have these qualities, and be real with yourself. If you could rate each of the different 10 items that I'm talking about on a scale from 1 to 10 individual, where would you be individually for each of these things? So what about vision? You know, vision is not just about eyesight, but it's about seeing the bigger picture. How well do you think you do that? Ability. How well do you lead? How much do you really know about what it takes to do what it is that your followers do? Enthusiasm. How would you rate your level of enthusiasm? How about stability? Do people see you as a stable person on a scale from 1 to 10? Is that high or low? Or do they see you as a person where they never know where you're coming from? Do you have a genuine concern for other people? Let's face it, if you are a leader, people are counting on you. And why should they count on you if you really don't show that you have a concern for other people? And it's not just for one individual or two individuals, your favorites perhaps. It's everybody that's on your team needs to feel like you're genuinely concerned. You care about their success. Are you self-confident? How can they be confident in you if you're not confident yourself? And persistence is a big quality too. Nothing gets done unless people are persistent. You need to make sure that if you're focused on what needs to be done and you're trying to help your followers get the job done, are you making sure that you're consistent and persistent? Vitality. You bring the energy into things. Are you infusing your team with vitality, with the way that you are and the way that you lead? Related to that is charisma. People need to have confidence in you, and the way that they see you carry yourself makes them feel better about what they're in. And then integrity. Do you do what you say you're going to do? Are you the kind of person that follows through? Do you model the integrity that you want your employees to show? So each of those different qualities, you really kind of have to take a measurement. If you want to go through that again, you can stop the video and rewind, but really do a personal assessment if you really care about really thinking about objectively how effective of a leader you are. Let's talk about vision a little bit. So vision really has to do with having a strong sense of purpose. You need to recognize what needs to be done, and then you need to do it. Are you inspiring other people to be enrolled in that vision? And when you do that, people are more likely to carry out what's expected. Vision really needs to have a solid, clear plan in place. If you don't have, like if I wanted to go to New York and I live in Seattle and I don't have the right map, I'm probably not going to get there. So I have to have the right plan in place in order to get there. And sometimes I need to involve people in that process to help them really understand where the troubled spots are going to be so that we can navigate that plan successfully. So then I need to pass the clear plan of action on to my department so that everybody in my department can really understand what's expected. I need to be able to know the job. Let's face it, if you are just bumbling as many new leaders do, or maybe even more seasoned leaders do, you probably aren't as respected by people as they could be. So you need to really understand what the job is of your followers. You need to understand what your job is as a leader, and you need to really make quality decisions, give the guidance, solve the problems. Those are the qualities that help leaders maintain their strength. So really being able to create solid strategies in the decision-making process is important. How about ability? How competent are you? Are you current in your field? Do you set examples? Are your perceptions accurate? Do you have a good memory? What about your judgment? Is your judgment sound? How enthusiastic are you? Do you influence other people through your enthusiasm? Do you enroll other people, your followers, to follow through? And do they want to follow you? So in order to do so, you really could ask yourself, do people see me as caring very personally and deeply about what you're doing? That's a really good way of doing it. Do I ignite others to take action? Stability is really important. You can't bring your personal problems to work. You have to be stable emotionally. If people aren't sure which you they're going to get, and I say which you, I'm talking about really being able to have a steady personality where people can trust that you're going to be there for them and give them what it is that they need. Stability really is about objectivity, and you really have to think about how that either strengthens or dwindles levels of trust. Concern for others. Do you have a caring heart? People really need to understand that they truly are cared for. Do you have a genuine concern for their welfare? Are you making statements that show that you truly care about them? If you're tearing people down or belittling or trying to diminish people, that probably brings your level of concern for others very low. Really be thinking about what it is that you say to other people and how you say it. Those are the things that people will perceive about you as a leader. They really need to know that you care. So you have to be humble and you have to be selfless, caring about yourself a little less than other people, so to speak. You need to care about yourself, of course, but you really need to care about your people. So caring really is important. Do you go out of your way to make sure that your people are happy and satisfied, have the proper tools to meet their goals, or are you demeaning people, or are you lifting people up? So do your employees really know that you value them? When was the last time you've told one of your employees that you genuinely appreciate them, right? If it's not happening every day or every week, you're probably not as good of a leader as you probably could be. Have self-confidence, though. You really have to believe in yourself. If you see an area that's deficient, work on that. Where we focus our time and energies, that's where we get our results. So be calm, be confident, have grace under pressure, and inspire other people with your way of being. So how do you do on that? Do you have areas that of your self-confidence that really could be worked on? You can change in a heartbeat, but that's a choice. Do you have the drive and determination, the persistence to be able to get things done right? Are there things, nothing rarely goes right all the time. But when things aren't going right, how do you react in that? That state of persistence is so important, and it really is related to your vitality. You have to have the right strength and stamina in order to be a leader. You got to have the right energy to put into things. and make sure that you have you're eating right and getting enough sleep in order to do it, and you're exercising on a regular basis. Too many times I see people who work so hard that it starts to take a toll on their body, and before you know it, they're having heart attacks and strokes, and then they die at a young age, and people are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was coming. I'm like, why? All the signs were there. This person was stressed out all the time. This person made mountains out of molehills when little crises came. So you really have to make sure that you're taking care of your body, keeping it physically fit, because it affects the way that you are. Your charisma. Are you optimistic? Do you have a sense of adventure, commitment, enthusiasm? Are you loyal to your followers? You gain loyalty from your followers when you are loyal to them. How are you doing on that? Where are you on a scale from 1 to 10? Do you possess a positive outlook? Are you seen as who is transformative, that helps people transform themselves? And do your followers know that you're loyal to them? So you're always being tested each and every day about your loyalty to your followers. How do you stack up on a scale from 1 to 10? You need trust. You earn trust. You need to give respect and loyalty and the right actions. And you do that through your strength of character and your courage in every interaction that you have with other people. Are you treating people with respect? That's integrity. And you can't fake it. Or you can fake it, but you can't fake it forever. People all have BS meters inside. So be a person of integrity in absolutely every moment, right? So ask yourself the questions. Do people trust you? What do you think? I mean, you probably know in your heart of hearts when people are questioning your character. What is it that you did that would make people question your character? So you have to always be true to your word. When you make a mistake, it's natural. Own your mistakes. Don't try to bury your mistakes. That's the difference between people who have high integrity and low integrity. Be aware of your behaviors. Our behaviors end up affecting other people. So be competent. Make sure you're getting the job done and you're going above and beyond what people expect of you. If you are being too rigid, no, this way it's got to be, people probably are losing a little bit of respect for you. If your temperament is off and on, moody, people probably are losing followers. If you are seeing callousness, it's probably because you are being callous. You're creating that culture of your team. So be aware of how you treat other people. Corruption is another thing. Are you doing the right thing? Or are you talking badly about people behind their backs? Or are you supporting people? So are you being honest with your dealings with other people? And cruelty is the other thing. So don't be cruel to people. Try to find the best. Like, think about taking care of someone's child. How would you want to treat them? Or your mother. I always like to say, I would want, if someone employed my mom, how would I want them to treat my mother? So think about how you treat other people really matters. So if these are things for you to really be thinking of. You can tell that you're not being a good leader when you're losing people. And I call these derailment patterns. Are people not meeting performance objectives? Well, it's probably your fault. You need to be coaching people. You need to make sure people have the right understanding of what needs to be expected. Do they have the right skills and training and resources? If they're not doing what they're doing, that's your opportunity for a leader to find out why and help them get there. Be caring. Why would you hire someone and then abuse them by not giving them what they need? Are you properly leading your team? You build your team up, make them feel good about working with each other, and help them be the best that they can be. Relationships are fragile, And if you've got infighting that's going on among your team members, that's probably your fault, and that's your opportunity. Every problem is an opportunity for you to act. So leaders need to be effective leaders by being a leader. And being a leader really means that you are being open, being aware of what needs to be done, and then you're taking the action to do the right thing. When you have people who are not adapting to changes very well, that's an opportunity for you to act. It's not an opportunity for you to beat up an employee, but it's an opportunity for you to earn the trust that's going to help bring that employee through what they feel is a challenging time. Be honorable to people about how they feel about things. Help them get to where they need to be. That takes time. Prepare people to take the next steps in their careers. You're not doing your job if people have goals and you're not understanding what those goals are, and you're not giving them what they need in order to grow. They'll look outside the organization, and then you'll lose a valuable team member. You want to help them stay with the organization and grow with your organization and keep their strength and their individuality there to make the organization stronger. So when you see people who are being disrespectful to authority or are not acting in a trusting way, those are signs for you to take an introspective look at what you're doing and be able to take the right actions to earn that trust. Look at your followers and how they're acting. Trust is everything. Are they being guarded? Are they doing things to sabotage the organization? Those are signs for you to be able to act. So not everything is your fault. I mean, people have personal lives that fall apart too. But you being able to help your followers take the right actions really means you have to be able to engage with people in a meaningful way and help them understand the impact of their actions. People at the old way of leading used to be top down, straightforward, do this or you're fired or you're going to be punished. These days, there are lots of organizations that are looking for talented employees like what you have. So if you've abused your employees so much that they hate you or hate your team or your organization, that's probably your fault. And it's probably because you have not been loyal as a leader in developing people to where they need to be. That's your responsibility. Being a leader really means you need to take the right leadership actions all the time, and that means you need to be aware of what to look for so that you can make the right actions. And so that's an investment of time. People who are slowing down production, have poor quality work, or are not cooperative, those are opportunities for you to be a better leader with those individuals, right? Motivate your employees, facilitate actions that are productive and positive. Earn trust with the way that you respect employees, and that they'll in turn respect you too. Do your employees know how much you respect them, or do you not respect your employees? That's not respecting their diversity, and diversity is not just about color of skin or how much hair a person has. It really is important that you develop trust. Deal with everybody in an open, authentic, honest way, and look at what you need to earn and own when you're in those situations. Really consider everybody's point of view with an open mind. That's a sign of a great leader. Keep promises. That's about integrity. If you make a promise or a commitment to people, be that person that keeps their promises. Give responsibility. Really, I think listening really is probably the most important leadership characteristic anybody has. Listen to understand. You may have the wrong perspective, or you may only have part of a perspective, and you are making decisions that affect other people. Don't you want to have all of the right perspective so you can make the best decisions possible? Sometimes you get results by making a decision with poor information, but in the longer run, that probably causes a lot more problems and losses than that any accountant could ever account for. So really take the time to listen to others, know what it is that you don't know. And you can develop trust by truly caring about people. So you hear me talk about kindness and caring in my videos all the time. So if people aren't seeing that you're someone who cares, you're probably not seen as an effective leader as you possibly can. Think about your interpersonal trust scale. On a scale from 1 to 10 with every employee that you have, how would you rate that level of trust? Is it really a 10? If you were to ask them on a scale from 1 to 10, be honest with me, how much do you trust me because I want to be a good boss? And they're like, well, I'm scared to answer this question. That's not a good sign, right? So really recognize that if you're manipulating people, if you're not being honest and transparent, you're not supporting people when they need support, people are probably skeptical about you. Those are opportunities for you to grow as a leader. So really be thinking about your effectiveness with a leader. There's a lot of different things that affects your influence of other people. And so the size of your team, your organization, the social and psychological climate of your team. So teams, again, team leaders, again, have the biggest influence over the climate of their team. I used to say that no matter how bad my boss treats me, as a leader, I'm going to treat my employees the way that they want to be treated. I'm going to take care of the people within my four walls. How are you as a leader at making sure you're taking care of your people? So is work getting done? And is work getting done in a way where people are wowed and really recognize the contributions of the people? Or are people just doing the bare minimums to get by? That's a sign of your leadership. You know, are you giving them the right resource? Are you allowing them enough time? Are you helping them really understand what needs to be done? And are you removing obstacles along the way? So little things can turn into big things if people aren't getting what they need. And I kind of feel that way about cancer. You know, if you're let's say you're a smoker and you know that smoking has proven to cause cancer along the way, and you're just going to smoke 1 pack of cigarettes a day instead of 2 cigarettes a day, you're still putting toxins into your body that your body can't necessarily filter out, and then before you know it, you've created your own cancer. Well, that's the same way that it works in relationships too, especially leadership relationships with followers. You know, are you creating that cancer by not doing all of the right things all the time? You know, conscientiously owning your mistakes and fixing them when they happen. But you have to be smart as a leader and make good decisions, because everything is related to decisions. So when you're making decisions, are you being flexible enough to be open to understanding everybody's perspective and then solving problems in a reasonable and creative way that really helps create long-term wins? That's what we want. We want people to feel like they're on a winning team, because they are, because you as a leader are helping create that with the help of your followers. So if your team is weak, your fault. So do be aware of your leader-follower relationships. You know, hire the best people. If you inherited a team of other people, make your expectations clear and then coach them to be successful. You don't want to lose anybody unless they absolutely are choosing to refuse, and find out why they're not following you and try to do your best to earn the respect of those people. It's the right thing to do. Leading really can come down to essentially 3 different leadership styles, as we've talked about before: directive, participative, and what I'll call free reign in here. And so with directive leadership, you're calling all the shots, right? And it really is all about you. Well, that's cool in some situations. You know, when you have really, really large teams, probably you need to be a director. But when you have multiple teams that work for you and they're smaller teams, you really need to make sure that you're being more participative. Are you involving followers in the process of making good decisions. And then free reign really is about the followers. I've hired the best people, I've trained them to really understand what's expected, I'm going to empower them to be able to make the best decisions. So everything is about how you use power, and that's a choice. So be aware of situations that aren't going right. Proper training may be the answer. Training that's done right. When I say proper training, where you really identify the skills and knowledge that are needed, and then you're creating training or bringing in trainers that help people and assess whether or not people really are understanding that. And people go for different activities in different levels of effectiveness. So help people be as effective they can in all areas of it. And so everything is about, in leading or success in life, is about quality of decision making, quality of goal setting, and that's all related to how well you communicate. How well do you spell out what's expected, and how much power are you giving to people to make those decisions, right? So as we conclude here in this video, I'm sorry that it's so long, you have to think about the old ways of doing things, which were a lot more directive, to today's expected leadership style, where it really is about teams, it's about entrepreneurship, it's about making more solid relationships with your employees and bringing out the strengths of their uniqueness to make the team stronger, to create better quality products and services, and giving people the right support when they need it, as well as the right freedom by removing a little bit of the controls along the way. So leadership truly is more of an art than a science these days. This is why you can get a doctorate in leadership. You know, people really need to understand what's expected of them, and you need to be able to make sure that you're delivering the right kind of leadership that they need. And it's not always easy, because we are in a very competitive environment, which means we have to be more flexible. So mentor people. Expect people to have high moral standards. Model it. Direct people, motivate people, organize people, and develop your people to be as effective as they can. You can do this by empowering people, using the members of your team in a way where they feel genuinely valued, and generate more ideas and find ways to make those ideas come to fruition. Coach people at the right time to help people navigate the challenges that will naturally come along with your organization's and team's goals. Do the right thing at all time. Be a person of integrity. Each action builds or diminishes trust. I want to build trust with my followers. And then develop your people to be the best that they can be. Don't give them a reason to look outside your team or your organization for employment. Give them what they need to be successful. All right, you guys, I've given you a lot of things for you to consider about leadership qualities, characteristics of followers, what to look for, and situational factors. So I hope this video has been helpful to you, and even more important, I hope that you have a great day, because only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr. Paul.